James Coakley doesn't remember a single encounter. He remembers a pattern. Not one bad night, not one bad room. A presence that followed him across years and across places, never announcing itself the same way twice. He'd be alone, almost always alone, and something would be there that hadn't been there a moment before, watching him with an attention he didn't have a category for yet. James tells it carefully, a little embarrassed. The tone people use when they already know how the story sounds before they finish telling it. We've heard some version of this before, in general shape if not in detail. It has names in the literature, depending on which decade and which discipline you ask. That's the tidy version. It's the version James told himself for close to 30 years. Here is where it gets less tidy. James says the smell came first, every time. Before he'd fully register, he wasn't alone anymore. He didn't have the word for it as a boy. He found it later. Sulfur. At the time, he just called it onion. Because that's the smell he knew. From nights someone was cooking something slow. Except nobody was cooking. Not on the nights he means. He doesn't remember being afraid, not the way you'd expect. He remembers being very still. And he remembers it smiling. Too wide every time. Too wide, honestly, for a face. We should say clearly what this footage is. It's archival. What you're looking at survives from the wishing well tales, recorded in the early 1980s on a small market station that has long since gone off the air. James had a small production slot on that station, and somewhere in that hour, he started airing a recurring bit, a children's fantasy segment. The return of the Onion People. It ran, unpredictably, for a little over 2 years, most of it never logged in any surviving station record. Nobody who worked alongside him remembers being told where the idea came from. James has never publicly said, until now, that it was built out of something he lived through, repeatedly, as a child. Which leaves us with the question this series keeps circling back to. If this was just a childhood fear, the kind most people outgrow, why did a grown man spend 2 years quietly putting it back on the air, again and again, in a shape he chose himself?